Protesters are urging Sony Music to drop R.Kelly after an explosive documentary series which brings to light multiple allegations of sexual abuse. People chanted outside Kelly's studio in Chicago earlier this week. And on Friday, a women's group planned to fly an airplane towing a banner over Sony Music's offices in California, urging the company to drop the artist. Now, the series, which is a 6-hour documentary entitled Surviving R. Kelly, details 2 decades of allegations against the singer. The prosecutors in Illinois and Georgia are now looking into the allegations that were outlined in the documentary. To give you an idea, here's a clip.
I felt like my silence allowed it to continue.
I worked up the courage to come forward and tell my story.
A part of me always felt like maybe I did something for him to treat me that way.
I want my story to be heard so people could take this situation seriously.
But when I found out it wasn't just me,
I just don't want it to get any worse.
And it just kept going and going and going.
I just wanted to know that it's not, you're not alone.
Kelly has consistently denied all the allegations. His lawyer has called the lawsuit, quote, a collection of, or the program, a collection of half-truths, distortions and outright lies. Joining me now are 2 of the documentary's executive producers, Tamra Simmons and Jesse Daniels. Both of you, thank you for joining us. Tamra Simmons, this documentary, the reaction's been quite extraordinary as a result of it. I wonder, what is it you want to happen next?
Well, we're just thankful that the women's voices are being heard, the survivors and the families. What we want to see next is basically these families reunited with their daughters that they haven't seen in years and they haven't heard from in years. And they missed birthdays and they missed, Christmases and holidays and things like that.
Jesse Daniels, I mean, the allegations are serious, they are strong. But so far, Kelly has not... He's been acquitted once in the past of paedophilic charges, but he's not been charged with anything else so far.
That's right. So there certainly have been allegations that have lasted, somewhat around 30 years now, but we hear of investigations happening now. We're not a part of those investigations, so it's hard for us to comment on what's happening now. All we can hope for is that people continue to talk about the documentary, that people continue to support our survivors, and we'll see what happens from there.
I guess what I'm hinting at here is how much of this, to either of you, how much of this is trial by television, when the proper place to be looking at these matters is a court of law?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, we're here now talking about it, and there's so many conversations happening because of the documentary, and I'd have to ask myself, would this be happening now without it? So we're just proud that people right now are talking about it, that people are taking action, and we'll see what happens from there. Right,
but to the point about, from your point of view as television executive producers, and on this programme we have done an enormous amount, obviously, on the business side of this, how companies have looked the other way for so many years on the whole question of sexual harassment, abuse. This is a far greater case than that. But Tamra, do you think Sony Music has a responsibility here that they have not lived up to?
Well, I believe that, it doesn't matter what industry it is. These women, especially like black women, they don't come forward, they don't speak out, and it's not looked upon in our community to do that, and you receive a lot of backlash saying you're trying to take a black man down and things like that, but it's not that. It's giving these survivors a voice. Right, so, and allowing them to be able to come out.
Right. So finally, Jesse, this point, just what is it you want? Do you want Sony to fire and to take the backlog down, as Lady Gaga has done, denying or at least recanting on her previous comments and taking it off Spotify, their joint production? Do you want that from Sony? Do you want to see Kelly in a court facing charges?
It's not our job to demand these things. All that we want is people to continue to talk about it. We would love to see responses from everybody who's been involved from the industry and across the board. However, from our point of view, we just want to take a neutral position at this point and let all other parties start up their conversations.
To both of you, extraordinary television investigative work. Thank you for joining us on the programme.